welcome to the first edition of Acuity Talks, an ESG podcast that focuses on everything that is trending in the ESG domain. I'm Ananta, part of the investment banking team at Acuity, supporting clients on sustainable finance and ESG engagements. Today, we will be talking about how investment banks can support corporate sustainability. There has been a sustainable awakening in boardrooms and C suites, which has changed the way investors as well as asset managers direct their resources. To highlight more on how investment banks can drive corporate sustainability, we have with us Yash Chanana, Director, Investment Banking. Yash is responsible for managing client expectations, client engagements, and on site delivery across various industrial verticals, including mergers and acquisition, debt capital markets, sustainable finance, and ESG advisory. Welcome to the podcast, Yash.
Thank you, Ananta, for having me.
Being a seasoned professional in this space, what are the changes that you have observed in the ecosystem of investment banks towards ESG and sustainability?
Yes, of course, we have seen a lot of changes which banks have gone through over the years in ESG and sustainability space. If we look at the focus, investment banks have shifted their focus from short-term risk and return to more longer-term sustainability so that the decision making can be based on sustainable goals rather than based on short-term returns. So this particular demand from investment banks is driven by investor appetite basically, because investors are driven from social and environmental concerns plus also financial returns. So it is very important that investment banks play a very important role in this particular exercise. What we have seen is investment banks were earlier focusing largely on climate change areas. Say, for example, their focus was how to move away from non-renewable sources to renewable sources of energy, and accordingly look at financing or setting up projects accordingly. Now, over the years, what we have seen is the change has been much more broad-based. The focus has been on looking at how the companies can change their strategies and they can move away from the current non-sustainable ways of doing business to more sustainable ways of doing business. Accordingly, there has been a demand for more finance to meet those requirements, to look at targets which can help them move away from the current business to more sustainable business. So this way, investment banks have been playing a very, very important role in this journey. Look at the kind of areas they are into currently. They are doing ESG advisory. Yeah. They are also into ESG capital market solutions. They are also providing services on strategic initiatives by the corporates to decarbonize their business. And also, there are also a lot of requirements in terms of reporting and regulations as well, where also the investment banks are playing an important role and updating the corporates how they can navigate this entire process and help them with the sustainable reporting requirements.
Right. It has been noticed that the investment banking space and the domain has evolved a lot. Now, the next question that I have from you is, how can investment banks basically support companies in their ESG journey?
Corporates and investment banks, like they have been working together for a long period of time. Initially, investment banks have been supporting them on M&A advisory. They have been supporting on raising funds from the market to traditional sources, whether it is bonds or loans in the market. However, with this requirement of sustainable building a sustainable business, the requirement is twofold. One, to obviously set up a business which is much more sustainable in longer term, looking at a lot of requirements which have come up from Paris Agreement on climate change. Yeah. There are requirements from different governments. There are requirements from different conferences which keep on happening. And there are certain targets being set up accordingly for different countries or different regions or different companies. And some companies are voluntarily also setting up targets to reach their net carbon zero goal. Right. So for those basically targets to meet, they have to reach out to banks like investment banks typically to advise them how to reach those goals. And that is a very important role which investment banks are playing. So they are reaching out for helping them with strategic analysis of various options they have to convert their business from where they currently stand, like understand the business currently, look at what is happening in the industry, like what all new opportunities or technologies are coming up, and then also helping them with, say, defining the pathways from how to move from one place to that place, which is like having a more sustainable business. And then in that process, a lot of financing is needed. It's not like that you can change the business overnight. It will require a lot of financing, and that financing will come. Again, the banks have been playing an important role. So the role of creating sustainable bonds, structured bonds which are like more focused on sustainable goals in terms of like if you give example green bonds or blue bonds or women bonds or social bonds. If I take broadly, these are called like sustainability and social bonds. These have started to play a very, very important role. And banks are best placed to reach out to the investors who can help with providing this kind of funding.
You rightly mentioned that investment banks are playing a very important role in sustainable investing as well. Now, with the growing ESG regulatory space and frameworks, what, according to you, are the major sustainability investing frameworks that investment banks need to align with on their journey to improve their sustainability?
There are many guidelines which have been set over a period of time. Some of these I will try to name some of them which are commonly referred to. There are various bodies like GRI, like Global Reporting Initiative. Then there is SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, and also then there are things like Paris Agreement on Climate Change, which have been followed by different countries and organizations to look at what ESG parameters we need to measure, how to measure them, and how to score them as well. Then apart from these, there are broader goals like UN SDG goals, which have been set up, and also another guideline that has been set is by UN for responsible management. And apart from that, then there are a lot of guidelines which companies set up for themselves. There are a lot of rating agencies which have come up with the various scorecards for the company to evaluate their ESG performance, and they have to report that on a regular basis as well.
Right.
And also to add, there are green bond as well as social bond principles which specifically investment banks are following for issuances in this particular space.
Right. Lastly, I want to know from you, what is Acuity doing? We are supporting 100 plus investment banks across various headers. So, what are we doing to support their sustainability agenda?
So for investment banks, we have been providing support to them for over 20 years now. And the primary area has been core research and analytics, be it M&A advisory or capital markets. We have been there for them and supporting them throughout. ESG or sustainable finance is linked to all these areas because this is relevant for M&A as well as for capital markets. So equity, using their M&A expertise, using the capital market expertise, as well as understanding of the ESG, because we hire people with certification in ESG, so they understand ESG, and we have people who have the domain knowledge in M&A and capital market issuances. So they are able to bring together the knowledge and provide solutions to our client, help them work on different strategies which can bring both of these things together. For example, for one of our clients, we are supporting them on ESG strategy. Client is looking at how we can build a business. Can you help us with examples where business have moved, set up more sustainable business, like they're asking us for technologies. If they have any new technologies which have come in the market to improve, which can help us reduce our carbon emissions, which are as of today versus what it will be after adopting the technology. So our clients, and we are helping with those strategies. Another way we are helping a client is sustainable finance. Like we support in bond issuances via like supporting investment banks. But sustainable finance has grown tremendously over the years with a lot of focus on green bond issuances. As I mentioned, a lot of sustainability linked bonds and loans. So what we are doing is we are helping in entire process. We are helping in tracking these issuances. We are helping with pricing of these particular bonds or the loans. We are helping also with a lot of research work as well. So it is across the spectrum of the different products as well as different services. We are incorporating ESG.
Right.
So another area, if I mention, is like ESG ratings and scores. Here also we are helping the banks with rating advisory using the traditional ways, but at the same time we are also adopting ESG parameters in our rating methodology so that we can come up with ESG scores which can be used by the banks and the companies basically for their to go to the market strategy. And finally, it also like regulations which are there currently. Many companies are required to report on ESG parameters as well as prepare sustainability reports. So we are also helping our clients with preparation of these reports as well, so that they can report on a timely basis, whether it is quarterly or annual basis.
Excellent, Yash. We are doing so much for investment banks who are our major clients, and they actually play a very important role in driving corporations towards sustainability.
In fact, I am very proud to be part of this organization where we have built so much experience in sustainability and ESG, and helping our investment banks to mitigate the ESG risks which are there, and as well as help investment banks become much more competitive. We have set up teams for many of the banks and help them being extension of their own in-house team. So we have seen that investment banks got a lot of benefit from partnership with us, and we look forward to engaging in many more investment banks over a period, so that we can help contribute to the economy, to the sustainable economy as a whole as well.
That is great, Yash. This brings us to the end of the podcast. I am really thankful to you for bringing so many insights on what investment banks are doing and how are they supporting organizations to move on to their sustainability agenda. Thank you again. This is Ananta signing off.